The rain came down in silver sheets, drumming softly on the tin roof of King's Cross Station. It was nearly midnight, and the once bustling platforms had emptied into silence, save for the echo of dripping water and the distant hum of a vending machine. Platform 9 sat under a flickering light, the glow catching the mist that rolled along the tracks like lazy ghosts. Most people avoided it, not because of the rain or the hour, but because of the stories. They said strange things happened there, that people saw faces in the dark windows of passing trains, that sometimes when the night was still enough, a voice called your name, even if no one else was around. But tonight, Evelyn Marsh wasn't thinking about ghost stories. She stood there, suitcase in hand, soaked despite her umbrella, staring at the arrivals board. The 11:47 to Edinburgh was delayed. Again. She sighed, checked her watch, and tried not to shiver. Her mother would have told her not to travel alone so late, but she had to get out of London. The city had become unbearable. The noise, the memories, the loneliness. Ever since Daniel. She shut her eyes. Don't think about him. When she opened them again, she realized she wasn't alone. At the far end of the platform, half hidden in the mist, stood a man. Tall, thin, wearing an old-fashioned gray coat and a bowler hat that looked decades out of style. He wasn't moving, just standing there, hands in his pockets, looking down the empty track. Evelyn hesitated. Something about him felt wrong. Not threatening exactly, but wrong, like a photograph slightly out of focus. She turned back toward the timetable screen. Train delayed. Estimated arrival. 12:15, another half hour. She decided to find a seat, but when she turned around, the man was gone. Her heart jumped. She looked left and right, but there was no sign of him. Just the rain and the mist and the echo of her own breathing. Maybe he left. Maybe she was imagining things. She'd had a long day. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Then she heard it. A voice. Low. Male. Miss Marsh. She froze. Slowly, she turned. The man was back, standing just a few feet away now, his coat dripping with rain. His face was pale, almost gray, and his eyes were a strange shade of blue. Too bright, too clear. I'm sorry, Evelyn said cautiously. Do I know you? He smiled faintly. Not yet, but I've been waiting for you. A chill went through her. What do you mean, waiting for me? He tilted his head. You're going to Edinburgh, yes? The 11:47? Yes, she said slowly. It's delayed. He nodded. It usually is. Evelyn stepped back. I don't understand. The man's expression softened. You shouldn't be afraid, Miss Marsh. I'm here to help you. Her fingers tightened around the handle of her suitcase. Help me? With what? He looked at the empty tracks. With leaving. There was something in the way he said it. Like the word leaving meant more than just catching a train. Look, Evelyn said, forcing a nervous laugh. I don't know who you are, but this is weird. I'm just waiting for my train, so if you don't mind, he interrupted gently. You were going to see Daniel, weren't you? The name hit her like a slap. How do you know that? He didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out something small. A silver locket. Her locket. Her breath caught. Where did you get that? You left it at the crash site, he said quietly. Evelyn's heart began to pound. Crash site? His eyes met hers. The train crash. The 11:47 to Edinburgh. 1 week ago, she shook her head, backing away. That's impossible. That hasn't happened yet. The man sighed, his voice almost sad. It already has. And suddenly she remembered. The screech of brakes. The blinding flash of light. Daniel's voice shouting her name. And then, darkness. Evelyn stumbled, clutching her head. The memory tore through her like lightning. She remembered the cold metal against her cheek, the smoke, the silence. The man stepped closer. You didn't make it, Miss Marsh. Her eyes filled with tears. No, I'm here. I'm right here. He nodded gently. Yes, but not the way you think. The platform around them seemed to grow quieter, as though the whole world was holding its breath. The flickering light steadied, the mist thinned, And for the first time, Evelyn noticed there were others, dozens of them. Men and women standing along the edges of the platform, silent and waiting, all pale, all still. Some held suitcases, some just stared into the fog. She whispered, "Who are they?" "The others waiting for their train," the man said softly. "The ones who haven't realized yet." Her throat tightened. "You mean, we're passengers," he said, "just waiting to go home." A sound broke through the silence, a train whistle, deep, distant, and mournful. A light appeared down the tunnel, growing brighter and brighter until the tracks glowed silver. The train emerged sleek and dark, its windows glowing faintly golden. Evelyn felt her tears spill. "What happens if I get on?" He smiled, that same sad, kind smile. "You'll see Daniel again." Her hand trembled. "And if I stay?" He looked at her for a long moment. "Then you'll keep waiting." The train slowed to a stop, steam curling around its wheels. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Inside she could see warm light, people talking, laughter. And at the far end of the carriage, a familiar figure looking out the window. Daniel. Her breath caught. She turned to the man. "What about you?" He took off his hat. "My train hasn't come yet." She nodded slowly. Then with trembling hands she picked up her suitcase, the one that suddenly felt light as air, and stepped toward the open door. "Thank you," she whispered. He bowed slightly. "Safe travels, Miss Marsh." Evelyn stepped inside. The doors slid shut. The train began to move, gathering speed, disappearing into the tunnel. And as it did, the mist lifted, the rain stopped, and Platform 9 was empty once more. Only the man in the gray coat remained, standing under the flickering light. He looked down the tracks where the train had vanished and smiled faintly. Then he turned his gaze toward the far end of the platform, where another figure had just arrived, suitcase in hand, glancing nervously around. The next passenger